I had no plans on whatsoever that video running more than 10 minutes, but it did, unfortunately. I'm sorry. But like I was saying, for the most part, a lot of times we're saddled with baggage. I've tried to make it an explicit point in my life not to allow my parents' baggage to affect me in any shape or form. As of late, I've realized I was not very successful in that. My mother came from a very abusive household growing up, and in turn, when she became a parent, she basically repeated the cycle of what it was that she knew. I mean, we got what's looked upon in the African American community as discipline is probably looked upon as child abuse in other communities. But I got it all. I mean, the belt, the hanger. I remember getting strapped to the bed and beat with extension cords. You know, um, it is what it is. But then the same goes for my dad, who had severe issues, and he actually never really confronted his because he wound up dying a couple of years ago of cirrhosis of the liver. He he pretty much he drank himself to death, and sadly, my stepmom actually blamed me, and my sister specifically, she blamed me to help contributing to that because I didn't talk to him. I hadn't talked to him in years. I refused to see him, and so I guess at the end he just would come home every day from work and drink himself into a stupor. He'd go in the basement and just drink and drink and drink until his body failed. And then she told me he would just wonder why I wouldn't talk to him or why I wouldn't call him or, but he wasn't a very good father. And, I had just decided to cut him out of, my life as an adult. But like I said, more baggage that I've yet to really sort of work through and process or whatever. And when he passed, that was a real sobering sort of wake-up call, no pun intended, especially with me where the alcohol was concerned, because I realized you know, I'd become him, you know. I mean, I would just drink and drink. I'd go out, and not necessarily drink alone, but I was partying a lot. I'd go out with friends, and I mean, I know over the years I've had alcohol poisoning. Oh God, like 3 times. Deathly ill, alcohol poisoning, and I guess I have the gene, and I survived it every single time. But like I said, more issues that just sort of have to be worked out. I've never been a believer in the pill or any kind of medications. I've had very close friends, lovers. My ex-wife was on medication, psychiatric medication, and even my mom to this day, is on certain medications. And to me, I as an outsider standing in, or maybe reverse as an insider at the eye of the storm looking out, it doesn't really work, and I never want it to be that. I'd rather feel the pain and process and go through it without having to just get numbed up by medication. So I've never wanted to take medication. But I do think talking about it and trying to sort of, I guess, work through and process guilt, pain, passion, failings, shortcomings, whatever it is that I as an individual had or have, will in the long run help me make better decisions. And like I said, I really wish more of us within the African American community, especially African American males, would just take the time and really talk to someone, because I think in the long run it would help us make better decisions as fathers, African American women as better mothers, as better community members. We often talk about how our community is fractured and broken, and it can all be really traced back to bad decisions, either on our part or our children's part, or on our part not to intervene in our children's lives. So that's all I gotta say about this. I'm gonna make a couple other videos, some other stuff that I want to talk about over the weekend before I, like I said, have to get choked out by the coker. You're gonna hydro crack the whip on a brother in the hydro cracker. That coker's some nasty stuff. I don't know if you've ever seen or know anything about petroleum distillate processes, but that coke is nasty. That stuff gets in your clothes, and I've washed my my Nomex, my uniforms, for like 6 months, and the smell won't come out. But at any rate, like I said, that's it. Sorry for rambling so long. You guys have a good one. Where is the stop button? I said stop.